Hi, I'm Gene Cornacchia. At St. Peter's College, we believe all citizens need to be informed about the important issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, St. Peter's University, the Jesuit University of New Jersey, the Northward Center, New Jersey Resources, Summit Medical Group, a multi-specialty medical practice providing comprehensive care from birth and pediatrics to geriatric care, concentrating in general wellness, cancer treatment, disease management, and behavioral health. And by Adler Aphasia Center, helping stroke and brain injury survivors recover their speech. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, small news, big news, true Jersey. And by New Jersey Family Magazine and NJFamily.com.
I'm Steve Adubato. It's my pleasure to introduce two of the greatest educators you will ever meet who have been working together for 15 years. Mary Ciekerka, social studies teacher, diversity club co-advisor at Watchung Hills Regional High School, and Jamie Lott-Jones, social studies teacher, diversity club co-advisor. You have the same title. This is ridiculous. You've been working together, same title, Watchung Hills High School, and we have you as part of our Classroom Close-Up series we're doing in cooperation with the folks at the NJEA. What are you doing over there that's so special? We're about to see a video in a minute. What's so special about what you're doing?
Well, we have such great kids that do special things, but our students have led an initiative to teach a lesson on Islamophobia. That one of our diversity club members, Helen Yang, was just concerned about comments that she was hearing in classes about Muslim stereotypes, and she came to us one day and said, "Hey, I'd like to create a lesson. Could we teach it in some of the freshman classes?" And we both teach freshman world history, and we said, sure. So she worked on it for about a month or so, and her and another friend of hers, Alana Margulies, created this lesson. They found the student voice resources, they found the TED Talk, they put together the PowerPoint.
So there's a whole program.
And it is.
And they're great. Listen, we're about to see this video. I hope this video doesn't say everything you just said, because let me just tell you. No, it's actually one of the great videos.
No, they'll do a great job.
They really do a great job at Classroom Close-Up. I promise you can jump in right after this. We're about to see this video. Good. Check this one out.
What do you think when you look at me? A woman of faith, an expert, maybe even a sister, or oppressed, brainwashed, a terrorist?
Dahlia Mogahead's inspiring TED Talk about living as a Muslim in post-9/11 America is just one of the tools 12th graders Helen and Alana are using to get these history students talking about the topic of Islamophobia.
I think that bringing a subject like Islamophobia to the classroom, especially in a world history classroom, I think it brings that element of discussions about things that we don't talk about a lot in our curriculum.
How can we define Islamophobia? We're gonna sort of come up with a class definition for this. I don't think anyone really, in their heart of hearts, believes that making fun of someone or being Islamophobic is the right thing to do, but if it's not something we're actively discussing and if it's not something that's on their mind, then that might just be their default.
How do you guys think that stereotypes are created? Like, what are some of the—
Helen and Alana developed the lesson as part of their involvement in the school's diversity club.
Helen actually approached us at the beginning of her sophomore year and said, "I read this article, we need to do something about it." And I said, "All right, what do you want to do?" And she said, "What if we make a lesson?" And they began to put the whole presentation together.
In one part of the lesson, students are asked to read and discuss varying accounts of discrimination experienced by Muslim teens.
She grew up in America, and her last name was Hussein. So a lot of people thought they would make fun of her and think that she was related to Saddam Hussein.
I love that so many students share different perspectives. I think that's what's important about these lessons. I mean, I don't want to come to a class and be preaching to the choir, basically, right? I think that it's important to really learn from each other's beliefs.
It's good that our generation is learning how to speak for ourselves and create our own ideas.
It's practicing and giving them a voice, that my voice matters. And here you can see with Helen and Alana, who have used their voice to make change in the high school, this is what you can do. If they can do it, you can do it.
I think that talking promotes action. I don't think that talking is enough. So what we did today, obviously that's important, but it's all about shaping a mindset. Once you have this conversation, the reason it's impactful is because then people feel empowered.
I think these discussions are important because it continuously reminds you that it's not over. The fight's never over. It's happening all around the world, and if we don't try to make a difference, no one will.
They're giving this talk especially to the freshmen as they're coming into school, and it's embedded in our unit on the Middle East. So this has helped the kids feel that the school is a safer place, that our classroom is a safer place, and that maybe they have allies that they'd never realized they had before.
Folks, I've been watching classroom close-up videos for about 10 years now, and I have to tell you, that's not what I expected. That was extraordinary. The last young woman we saw, a freshman. They were freshmen.
Yes.
And the two young ladies, Helen and
Alana.
are going where
Well,
right
they
now?
are freshmen. Helen attends Columbia and Alana is at Johns Hopkins.
These
They're
are
pretty
leaders.
amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing kids.
These are leaders.
Yes.
Yes.
What are they taking away from this in terms of life experiences and how they interact with others?
Well, when I first started at this school, I inherited the diversity club, and it was kind of like celebrating dinners and holidays, and I said, we need to do more. We need to find ways to empower our kids to speak up, and we started an initiative where we actually created a slogan that our kids use, which is speak up, stand up, stop hate. And it has woven its way all the way down to the elementary schools, so that when we have incoming freshmen, like you saw in the video, we can say speak up, and the kids will finish the slogan and say stand up, stop hate. I have a poster in the back of my room that says, speak your mind, even if your voice shakes.
Say that again.
Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes.
So a kid's nervous, afraid, uncomfortable speaking in public, and you tell them, just share your voice. Yeah. Even if your voice is shaking.
And you create an environment in the classroom where students feel comfortable speaking.
What is this whole thing about these upstanders? What is an upstander?
So we practice a lot, and we teach them to kind of embrace what they should do versus what they could do and model it. And through that, many years ago, I had seen Samantha Power speak, and she used the word. She said, I don't have a good word for someone who moves from being a bystander to an upstander. So I'm using this word, and I came back to the school and said, Mary, we have to use this word. And I started putting it into my curriculum. And two of our students actually won awards and were designers of the change.org movement to get the word upstander added to the dictionary.
How rewarding is this for you?
Incredibly rewarding. I mean, I'm fortunate to work with some amazing students. And really, our goal as educators is, you know, we impart knowledge every day. We want students to have 21st century learning skills, thinking skills, be able to collaborate. But we want students to be able to find their voice, right? They want to be able to find who they are as people. And what is their identity? Who am I? And what kind of positive difference can I make in the world? And we feel like if they can do this in high school, if they can have the tools like to change people's hearts and minds and make a positive difference, if I can do this in high school, why can't I do this in the greater democratic society that we live in?
Speaking of that, by the way, give me 30 more seconds, folks. I want to follow this up. Particularly in the polarized world that we live in, divisive, not just political environment, but social, cultural environment. How much more important is what you are doing?
I think it's essential that our kids feel that our classroom is a safe place, that they can feel empowered to make their town a safe place, to make their state a safe place.
So, excuse me, someone's talking about the other. They're the other.
Yeah, so
And
we
your
do a
kids say
lot of
what?
work to break that down and to separate why do we make divisions between us and them? And why is it so superficial and stupid, for lack of a better way to put it? And how do we bridge those gaps and find, so we talk about microaggressions, and we talk about just how you, and how you reach
Implicit
out to
bias.
others, and how you be the upstander for someone in the hallway, in the lunchroom.
And the most
Few seconds
important
left, go
thing
ahead.
is student voices. And we have a diversity of students in the school. So when they share their voice and they can share their perspective and their experience, that is where the meaningful learning takes place. Like, this is what my friend has gone through. I understand their ethnicity, their race, their gender.
Our differences.
Which are really not all that different in some ways.
Mary and Jamie, thank you.
Thank you very much.
For everything you do and every day for these young people, which means for the rest of us later on when they become leaders in public. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back right after this.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We're pleased to be joined by Donald Parker, who is president and CEO of Carrier Clinic. Good to see you.
Hey, Steve.
For those who don't know Carrier Clinic, it is
the oldest private psychiatric hospital in New Jersey. We're 109 years old. We're also the largest psychiatric hospital, private psychiatric hospital in New Jersey, and the 4th largest in the country.
And as we speak, toward the end of 2018, there's a bit of a merger taking place. Describe it.
Well, we are really blessed with the opportunity to join the Hackensack Meridian Health System. We are now pending Attorney General approval. We expect within the next month we'll receive that, and we will then combine our organizations as of the beginning of the year.
Now, talk about behavioral health. First of all, define behavioral health, then let's talk about the future of it as you see it.
Well, Steve, many people have many definitions of behavioral health, and in our organization, we really look at the malfunctioning of the brain, and that can happen in a variety of different ways, either through psychiatric illnesses or addiction. Both of them have genetic basis. They're both diseases, so we treat them like that. We don't really look at it on a social basis, although we do a lot of work with our patients around social issues, but they're diseases. And the fact that they haven't been treated as diseases has left us where we are today, and we're way behind all our other areas of the body, all other organs.
We're behind.
We're way behind.
Define behind.
Well, think about the comparison of polio, 1955. 1,500 people died. That was an epidemic. Today, 72,000 people died last year from substance abuse. You would think we would have some cures for that, and we are failing. It went up from 63,000 in the year prior to this. So it's an unusual epidemic.
Don, all the talk about the opioid crisis, isn't there is there a clear correlation between the opioid crisis and behavioral health issues? And people say, hey, this is the larger piece of the pie that we need to be dealing with, or is this another political, I hate to say this, another press conference by a political or elected official, hey, that's my #1 issue. Well, isn't it a behavioral health issue?
It's a behavioral health issue, and while we have separate treatment modalities, we also intersect in a lot of different ways on how we treat patients. And all of our treatment methodologies today are lacking the science behind them. We have medication behind them, but in terms of the science that's necessary really to respond to the kind of epidemic we're dealing with.
So your organization has been around a long time, solid reputation. This merger will mean what from your perspective in terms of who you will be able to serve and how you will be able to serve them?
Well, Steve, this is a platform. And we've figured out all different kinds of things to deliver from this platform that help you. I suspect that we will have a lot more opportunity to practice science in conjunction with all the scientific activity that's going on in Hackensack Meridian, to have a platform of 17 hospitals, 450 outpatient locations to distribute our product. We expect to have sometime early, I hope, in 2019, a behavioral health urgent care center.
Urgent care center?
Urgent care center.
Define what does that look like?
Well, you've probably visited an urgent care center for physical health, and they're all about being open when nobody else is open, being a price that's lower than going to emergency room, a lot less inconvenience in the emergency room, and care that's on demand, and deliver in really high quality.
You can do that in behavioral health?
We're going to be one of the first in the country to do that in behavioral health. We expect.
Interesting.
So,
is that a cultural shift? By the way, let me just close that Hackensack Meridian Health is one of the many healthcare organizations that are supportive of what we do here in public broadcasting and this particular production company. But I'm going to ask you this about culture. Do you think that's a cultural shift for a lot of us who say like, no, I got a rash, I got a cold, I got this, I'm going to urgent care. I got a behavioral health issue. Who am I calling?
Yeah, I think that people are oftentimes bewildered. There's not a centralized hotline you can call about behavioral health issues. There's hundreds of them, and you don't know what to trust. There is not a place that you can go other than an emergency room to expect to get your behavioral health issues taken care of. Emergency rooms are dealing with all kinds of critical things, and when your illness is not as apparent, you can end up in the back of the line pretty easily. So we believe if we connect it for patients, they'll get quick care, they'll get the right care, and we'll be able to help them move on their way.
Don't help me on this. Electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, what is it?
Well, if you ask Jack Nicholson when he was doing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest,
really,
it would be a pretty gruesome process. Today, it is incredibly effective, efficient, no side effects, and it's done under anesthesia. We do close to 5,000 procedures a year.
Not a lot of controversy about this today?
Not by the patients who come in and receive the treatment from us. Many patients call it a miracle. To have their brain stimulated in a way where they're under anesthesia, and when they wake up, they still have all their memory. There's no side effects, and whatever that we're treating, most often depression, is diminished, and it lasts for a long period of time. We have turned the corner many decades ago. It still has a stigma.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned the stigma part. It's got me thinking. You've been in the, I don't want to say a business, you've been in this field for more than, just say a couple of years.
We're like 43.
So you've seen a lot. My question is, to what degree do you believe societal attitudes, stigma-wise, that we're better, significantly better than where we were, just say 10 years ago when it comes to mental health, mental wellness, behavioral health issues? I'll throw them all together for the purpose of the discussion. Go ahead.
Steve, I think that we're turning the corner now. I mean, the very fact that a incredibly successful system like Hackensack Meridian are looking for a partnership with Carrier Clinic is an indication of that. I mean, they want us to be an integral part of all the services that they provide. Because if you go disease by disease, you're going to find some kind of psychiatric issue that impacts it. And whether it's compliance with medication for diabetics or it's cholesterol or you're eating the wrong things, there are always behavioral correlates to it. So we're going to be working together side by side on a lot of issues. So it won't be just behavioral health going in there operating independently. We're integrating it in the Hackensack Meridian system.
Before I let you go, people shouldn't suffer silently here, should they?
Well, if you don't step up, you're not going to avail yourself of what you need when you need it. It's only going to get worse. It's like an infection. You don't get the right kind of medication in your system. You don't get the right kind of treatment. You'll succumb to the disease. You will be in a psychiatric hospital. Our job, especially with our new partners at Hackensack, is to get you at early stages, get you in an urgent care center, and be able to help you before you need a hospital.
Don Parker has been doing this for 43
years.
He's president and CEO of Carrier Clinic. As we talked about this new partnership, which will change the landscape of this discussion moving forward. Don, I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Steve.
Make sure you keep us updated.
Our pleasure.
We'll be right back, right after this.
To watch more Caucus New Jersey, find us online and follow us on social media.
We're pleased to be joined by our good friend Michele Siekerka, President and Chief Executive Officer of New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Good to see you, Michele.
Same here, Steve.
I see you have two reports in front of you. What would they actually be representing?
So right here we have the State of Innovation, which is Governor Murphy's plan to rebuild the innovation economy in the state of New Jersey.
So I've heard.
Very good stuff in here. In fact, you know, the vision of NJBIA is to reclaim our stature as the innovation state. It hangs on our walls in our building.
Yep, I've seen it.
Wake up every day passionate about that, right? So there's really good stuff in here about a pathway to get there. However, we need this plan along with it.
That plan is?
This is Senate President Sweeney's Path to Progress. And what this plan does is this talks about fixing structural deficiencies in the state of New Jersey.
What's a fancy way of saying what?
Well, our pension's broken, our property taxes are too high, and we don't invest the right way in infrastructure.
Other than that, how are we doing?
Well,
so hold on, go back. So our public employee pension costs too high.
Yes, it's broken right now.
But I thought we fixed it in 2011.
Not enough.
I thought Governor Christie at the time, Senate President Sweeney, and others got together and they said, we're going to fix the pension health care crisis.
They got together and they started down a path. The problem is that path wasn't wide enough or long enough. And we all know that we need more because, unfortunately, there are people depending on that money, and we made a promise on that money, and we need to ensure in some way that money is there. But we need to stop making the same mistake by continuing down the same path of that pension system, because we just can't afford that type of a pension system any longer.
What about the property tax issue you raised?
Yeah, they're too high. We're
How's
number
that a
one
business
in
issue?
Because we, the business community, we pay most of that. We are the majority of the property tax payer across the state of New Jersey. People don't realize that. All those companies that you go in, all those businesses, those buildings, our members own them. So they pay property tax on that. Number one in the nation, highest property tax in the nation.
What's the corporate business tax cleanup? Cleanup what?
So let's talk about corporate business tax. We have a new budget now since July 1 in the state of New Jersey. That budget put new burden on New Jersey's businesses. It increased the corporate business tax. So this is tax on the revenues that corporations, the work that they do in the state of New Jersey. We're now taxing their products, their services, et cetera. We have a corporate business tax, that's fine. However, now we increase that to be almost the highest in the nation. Okay?
How does that hurt our ability? Because I know Governor Murphy, we're also talking to folks that choose New Jersey, they're trying to attract and retain businesses, and you're talking about a corporate, how to explain that connection?
Well, exactly, and that's why I say these two things need to work together. We can have ideas on how to grow jobs and grow economy. It's not sustainable if we don't fix what's broken. So we can't tax our way out of our economic crisis in the state of New Jersey right now. It's too expensive. We lack regional competitiveness, and we have an affordability factor going on in the state of New Jersey. What do I mean by that? I'm willing to pay a premium for good services in the state of New Jersey. We got excellent K-12 education system in the state of New Jersey. Excellent. We always come in the top 5 in the nation, right? We pay a premium for that. Number 1 property taxes in the nation, we pay for that, okay? But what we're doing now on that is we're seeing those students exported out of the state of New Jersey. We're number 1 in out-migration.
You mean the brain drain?
Yes, the brain drain, right? So we're not creating jobs there because those students are leaving.
Are they coming back after they graduate from college?
No, we're actually trying to look closer at that now. But, studies would tell you that wherever a student goes away for their post-secondary education experience is where they settle on their roots. Oftentimes it's where they meet their significant other, their closest friends in life. They get that first job experience. So if they're doing that outside the state of New Jersey, they're not coming back. But the challenge for them, if they do come back, is they can't afford to live here because we're also number 1 in the nation of millennials that live at home with their parents. That screams lack of affordability, okay? So we can try to create new jobs, but if we don't make New Jersey more affordable for the people to fill those jobs, fix those structural deficiencies
Michele, let's
here,
stay
we're
away
not
from
going
the
to win.
politics of this. Not easy. To what degree do you think that Governor Murphy and his team and Senate President Sweeney and his team are having a discussion that sounds like the discussion you're trying to create right now?
The fact that these two plans are out there now provides them the opportunity to have that discussion.
There's a pathway.
There's a pathway. There's a pathway. And they both want it. They know it's the right thing to do. And I'm a glass half full girl. I'm always high on New Jersey, I think that if we can take the right combination of these plans and get these leaders to focus on some priorities here, we're going to hit a home run.
Stay on this, on the spending side for a second. What I'm curious about is the willingness, because we had Senator Paul Sarlo, the chair of the Senate Appropriations Budget Committee, and Senator Sarlo, who was a part of the discussion with the team that Senate President Sweeney put together to look at state expenditures, talked about the consolidation of services in municipal government, which is, if that were to take place, then in a lot of cases, property taxes would be reduced. Is that a priority in your mind?
It's one of them. It's absolutely a tool in the chest.
Is the pension and health care issue of public employees, in your mind, a higher priority?
3.
Go ahead.
We have three structural deficiencies. We got to fix the pension and how we fund it. We got to take care of property tax, and we got to get wise investment in infrastructure in the state of New Jersey.
Whoa, why? You're talking about just spending more money in infrastructure.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm saying that we, a few years ago, increased our gas tax.
Yes, we did.
We then went to the polls to lock it up in a safe box.
Nobody's supposed to touch it except for transportation projects.
Yeah, but guess what? No one's touching it at all. The money's sitting there. We don't have it out on the streets, Steve. Okay?
Because?
Because our planning is not quite there yet. Okay? We need to get that money out on the street. We've locked up that money. We need to start investing that money and getting that money out on the street.
Real quick question before I let go. In order to fund some of this, say someone were to say, as Governor Murphy said the last time around, we need to raise taxes. We had this conversation with you about 50 times so far. Do it again. Raise taxes on wealthier New Jerseyans to get more revenue into the state. You say?
No. No, we fought against a millionaire's tax. We got a 5 millionaire's tax.
More than 5 million you pay more in income tax,
Yes,
but not more
which-
than $1 million.
Yeah, but Steve, it hurts small business.
Governor Murphy wanted $1 million.
Yes, he did. And we brought the data to the table that showed a millionaire's tax is a tax on New Jersey small business. S-corps, LLCs,
They're
family-run
people,
business.
not a business.
No, S-corps and LLCs are people who run a business through their personal income tax return. When they generate revenue for their company, they report it through their personal income. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about millionaire's tax, New Jersey small business.
Before I let you go, were you afraid of losing them? 10 seconds left. We're going to lose those people more and more.
We're losing them every day.
Michele Siekerka. Provocative, interesting, important. Thanks, Michele.
Thanks, Steve.
Check you out next time, folks.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, St. Peter's University, the Northward Center, New Jersey Resources, Summit Medical Group, and by Adler Aphasia Center. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
We are St. Peter's University, a place where students who are eager to learn are taught by people who care, on a campus designed for both to thrive. We're proud to offer incredible learning opportunities and life-changing experiences, and that means our students are prepared to succeed in their fields, in their communities, and all over the world. Get to know St. Peter's University, the Jesuit University of New Jersey.